Hi everybody, it's Trudy here, One Grounded Angel as you might know me better, and I'm doing an angel card reading video for you today, and it's for the week beginning September the 24th through to the 30th. Let me just double check. Yes, that's correct, 2018. So for those of you who haven't seen one of my videos, I choose a card deck and I start shuffling for each day of the week, and whichever card we need comes out usually in a very awkward fashion, but that doesn't matter. We get the card we need. And the way that you receive this message is in perspective of what's going on in your life. You must trust your intuition on what each message means for you. I do try to keep it general, but you know, everybody's going through different life stages and in different locations, etc. So always trust your intuition. On that note, this first card is fresh air. There is a very practical level here. It's about asking you to get outside more. Now, here in this part of the world, it's getting warmer. We're getting into spring. It's a lot more inviting than it would be for you in the Northern Hemisphere. I know there are a lot of you in the Northern Hemisphere, which I can tell from my viewing stats. And so it's getting cold for you. This perhaps isn't the most welcome message, but it's very important that you still make sure you get outside and get some fresh air. And so being outside around nature, super helpful. Nature carries a wonderful energy, and that will affect your energy field. It will help cleanse you, and it will help you feel more centered and grounded. Super important in this fast-paced, crazy world. So the other message, you know, getting a little bit more lateral, I guess, is about getting some fresh air in terms of your mind, making sure you're not being too closed-minded about what is the right choice for you to make, what is the right way to go about things, being open to new ideas and welcoming in outside views. We live in a world where we are on social media and we tend to gravitate towards or connect with the people who have the same perspective as us, and that's not the way to learn and grow. We need to be welcoming in other perspectives, even if we don't agree with them, so because it helps us understand each other better. Tuesday, yep, card has come out here. Sweetness. So for those of you wondering how I choose the card, there are a couple of different things to do. One is wait for a card to pop out, which is my favourite method. And the other thing is to wait till the angels tell me to stop shuffling. It's kind of intuitive. There's no wrong or right way, but the law of attraction means you always get the card that is right. So if this message doesn't resonate for you, that doesn't mean it's wrong. It just might mean that it's maybe meant for someone near you, for you to pass on, or maybe something for you to bear in mind. They're flagging for later down the track. Don't get too hung up on the date. This comes up. It's, you know, you need it when you need it, and it might be ahead of time, it might be after the time, but it might also be that it needs to percolate away in the back of your mind. So Tuesday's message is about sweetness. This is actually one of the cards that I find a little bit vague. It's about making sure that life has some sweetness and isn't all routine. You're not just running around fulfilling tasks, ticking items off your to-do list. You're actually making time for some sweetness. One of the reasons that we tend to look to junk food is because when there isn't enough joy in our life, it's a very easy fix. This will make me feel better. This will make me it's adding some sweetness into your life, literally, actually, if you're looking at sugar. And the ideal way to resolve that is to look at where can you bring in more sweetness in a healthy way. What's lacking in your life that you're looking to you know, a quick fix to bolster it. So making sure there's sweetness in terms of laughter, spending time with treasured people, making sure you're not just focusing on earning money or doing things like that that are obligations that make you look like you're, I don't know, a functioning member of society. And not that you would not want to do that necessarily, but making sure you're not all about the obligation, that you've got some time for some sweetness and joy as well. Wednesday, sacral chakra. So this chakras or chakras, I don't have a preference for how they're pronounced. I pronounce it both ways. They, I could go down a real rabbit hole here, but let me just say that they are energy centers in your energy field, or your aura, some people call it. So the sacral chakra is the second one, and there's 7 main ones, but hundreds more that we don't even know about yet. And it is the one that is sometimes called the sex, drugs, and rock and roll chakra, because it's all about pleasure. It's all about emotions, and it's also it's about our sense of belonging, well, actually that's probably more base stuff, but it's also about sexuality, as I mentioned, creativity, that would be the other thing. So look for where there's an imbalance really in any of those areas. Maybe you're not being creative enough in your life. And everybody's creative, by the way. I don't care what your high school art teacher told you. Everybody's creative. It doesn't matter what you use to express that or what you create. If it's any good or not, who cares? It's the act of creating that is joyful, and which is also hugely rewarding, and not to mention it calms your stress levels hugely. And also emotions is a big one with this chakra. In fact, that's probably the main thing. So you know, when I talked about pleasure, it was mostly, I've talked about it in regards to junk food, but in terms of this sacral chakra, any blocks to sexual expression. So, you know, if you're dealing with a block there in terms of your worthiness or your attractiveness, anything like that can be coming up. Perhaps you're using sex to make you feel better about yourself. I don't know, I'm just thinking laterally here. Anything like that. If you've dealt with any religious messaging about sexual behavior or anything like that that's really limiting you still, even if you don't actively subscribe to it, that can be going on and might need some resolution and some energy healing, or even past life regression can be hugely helpful because we've all lived many lifetimes and had many of us have been punished for sexual acts or shamed for them, or we can still be carrying that. Yeah, or even had sex used as a weapon against us. Now, emotions is a bit of a tricky one because whenever I talk about emotions, people tend to think of the heavy emotions, the anger or the sadness, etc. And I just want to make it very clear, firstly, that there are no negative emotions. There are emotions we call unpleasant because they are perhaps not desirable, but every emotion has its place. The pursuit of happiness is a real problem because it means we're chasing one particular emotion at the expense of all others, and it's not realistic to be happy all the time, and nor should you. It's not healthy. We need some of those more unpleasant or difficult emotions because they teach us things. They teach us where we're getting stuck. They teach us where we've got some issues to resolve, or they you know, they all have their place, and it's not wrong to feel sadness or any of those things. So this might be telling you to take a different approach to your emotions instead of punishing yourself for how you feel. It might be telling you that maybe you just are going to be dealing with some unpleasant emotions at the moment, and just go with it, express them, never bottle them up. It's the worst thing you can do with emotions. So if I remember, I will try and put an article about the sacral chakra on my Facebook page. Please remind me if I forget. I'm in holiday mode. It's quite possible. But even if I forget, you can easily find it on my website, which is www.onegroundedangel.com. Go to the search field and just hit sacral chakra. And of course, Google it. There's tons of information about this one. I'm sure where to go next. I'll go with this card deck. Thursday. Oh, interesting stuff coming up here. Ooh. Yeah, that didn't go well. Okay, let's go with this one instead. You know, it could just be my clumsiness, but generally I feel that if a card deck has fallen out of my hands, there's usually a pretty good reason for it, and maybe it needs reshuffling for a start, and maybe it's just the wrong one. Third eye. So we've gone from talking about the sacral chakra which is the second, to the sixth chakra, which is the third eye. So I think people are pretty familiar with the third eye because we talk about it in pop culture in terms of our intuition. So it is the chakra associated with the way we receive messages from the universe, and also really our perception. So delusion can be a big issue with the third eye. If you've got a third eye block or imbalance, it could be that you're not seeing things clearly. You're seeing how you want things to be rather than how they actually are. Maybe your perspective is too narrow, and that would fit in with what I spoke about earlier with the fresh air card, which was Mondays, just refresh your memory. Third eye blocks can also be about you're not you're blocking off your messages from your intuition, or your guardian angels, the universe, etc. Now, I'm going to try and remember to post an article about this on my page as well. But again, tons of information about the third eye chakra. One of the greatest ways to unblock a chakra is with Reiki, and another really excellent way is with Kundalini yoga. So yoga in general, actually, there's lots of poses in yoga that can target specific chakras. If you are a yogi, a yoga devotee, you might like to ask your instructor to focus on a particular move. I can't remember off the top of my head, to be honest, which ones do that. I think the third eye child's pose, because you're really sitting on that third eye, not literally sitting, you know what I mean, you're putting pressure on it, and I can't remember the other ones, unfortunately. Actually, sacral might be the bridge. Let's wait for the article to come up rather than me doing some guesswork here. So that's Thursday. Friday, let's see if we can get something that's not about chakras. Not that there's anything wrong with them. I'm very passionate about them, actually. Boundaries, big message for a lot of people who think that pleasing other people is their sole mission in life. Newsflash, it is not. If you're saying yes to people when you really want to say no because you are exhausted, because you have no time to yourself, because you are propping them up instead of letting them figure out their own problems, how to resolve their own problems, then this is the card for you. You need to set some boundaries. It is no good being angry at people for imposing on you. They will continue to do so until you say no, because it is up to you to teach people how you want to be treated and how you deserve to be treated. It's no good blaming them and saying they shouldn't be asking me. It's not fair. You cannot expect people to honour boundaries that you have not set. So this cycle will continue and across a lot of different relationships, actually, not just friends. It could be in the workplace, until you learn the lesson. And the lesson is that you need to say no. That is how you protect your energy, and it is how you protect the most precious resource you have, your time. That is the one thing you can never get back. So be very careful how you use it. The way you use it tells the universe what you value, what's important to you, which is basically the same thing, and who you are as a person. And you might be, by saying yes to everyone, you're not saying I'm a super helpful person. You're saying I don't value myself enough to set boundaries. And you're also saying that I believe that I don't believe in looking after myself, because it's real self-care. Setting boundaries is really important. Yeah, there's a lot I could say about that, but it's a big one. It comes up for a lot of people. You're not being mean if you say no to people. I know that's a difficult one, and people do struggle with it, but usually the only people who are going to get upset at you if you say no to them are the ones who've been profiting from you not setting those boundaries, and that's something they need. So Saturday, Guardian Angel. This is really a very vague card, but the illustration will convey that it is about an angel coming to help someone who is clearly in distress. So it's reminding you that you are not alone, that your angels are there with you. Often we feel like we're all alone when we're in times of trouble, and that's not the case. It's just because it's very difficult. And the one thing we need to be doing is asking for help in that moment. We're not here to manage things all on our own. We have this wonderful resource called Guardian Angels, and a lot of other spiritual guides as well with us, and in fact an entire spiritual hierarchy, and we must use it. We must ask for help. We don't have to use it, obviously, but if we want help, we need to ask for it, or else we can't receive it. So you've had these guardian angels assigned to you to give you some help, so it makes sense to make use of that resource. So please remember that you are very loved. There's nothing wrong with you. There's nothing you can do to make your angels leave you. It's literally their job to be with you no matter what. They don't get disappointed in you because they don't have egos. If you don't follow their guidance, that's totally okay. But please remember, if you want help, you need to ask for it. So actually, I might use this card deck now. For Sunday, yeah, that didn't go well. Let's go with this one. Maybe I'll go with that one I dropped earlier, which is now all over the shop. I'm just going to quickly reorder that. And, okay, we've nailed it. Honour and trust your feelings. So it's about listening to your intuition. I spoke about third eye blocks. It's all very well to, even if you don't have a third eye block and you can receive the messages, they're no good if you don't actually use them. This is super important. listening to your intuition and actually following through with what it says. Not always easy. Remember, if you're doubting your intuition, ask for a sign. If you're still not sure, ask for another sign. That's what I did yesterday, actually, and it worked very well. I finally got the message. So this card often comes up for people in personal readings who are struggling with decisions, and it's to remind them that they actually already know what to do. They're just scared to commit to it, or they're scared of letting people down, or their brain's trying to talk them out of it. And the card says, you already know what to do. Basically, honour and trust that. So things are not going to improve for you as long as you're going against what you know is the right thing. It's just how, yeah, it's a hard lesson, that one. You can't keep doing the same thing if it's giving you the same result and expecting things to change. So I think the idea about pleasure has been a bit of a theme here, this sweetness, the sacral chakra message, and opening up to new ideas here with this fresh air, and in terms of opening your perspective, and again with the third eye. That's it for the week. Thank you so much for watching. If you need to reach me, my website is www.onegroundedangel.com. Hit up the bookings form. You can message me on Instagram. I'm a bit slow at getting back to you because I'm being a lot more judicious about how much time I spend on social media. My Instagram is @OneGroundedAngel, and my Facebook page is OneGroundedAngel, and I will post each card each day on those channels as well. Thank you so much for watching, and I look forward to reading for you again next week. Goodbye.